It's another installment of Husker Chat. I'm Jayson Jorgensen. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment as we're here to talk Husker football with the publisher of HuskerOnline, Sean Callahan. What quite a game Saturday night. Sean, looked like Memorial Stadium was rocking. Huskers were going toe-to-toe with the Wolverines. Unfortunately, another tough, bitter loss for Scott Frost.
Yeah, I mean, close doesn't count very often, but Nebraska's really close. And once again, they had the ball. They were up by 3 with 7 minutes left, just like Michigan State. And they had a chance to beat a top 10 team. I mean, Nebraska's played 3 of them this year, and they've lost by 3, 3, and 7 points against Michigan State, Michigan, and Oklahoma. It tells you how much Nebraska's improved as a program, but it still feels like they're so far away because they can't get the win, and that's what matters. And you just hope that mentally this team can withstand another rough emotional letdown with the way that game was just kind of ripped out of their hands in the end.
Someone put together a list on social media, the way that Nebraska has lost tight games under Scott Frost. It's amazing. I almost feel when you watch Nebraska in these type of games in the fourth quarter, you almost expect something bad to happen.
Yeah, it's just everything under the sun has gone wrong. I mean, you think about even his first year at Northwestern. I mean, the way Northwestern mounted that drive out of the end zone, they were pinned on the 1 yard line, and they were able to get out of it. It might have been a late hit or roughing the passer tacked onto a play. I mean, just everything that you can imagine goes wrong. I mean, in some of these games, and sooner or later it's going to break. And you look at that game against Michigan. That was a really good team, Jason. Like, I think if you're being real with yourself, Michigan probably was a more complete team than Nebraska. But Nebraska executed. They played hard, and they were at home, and they fought, and they came back from a 13-0 lead. But Michigan probably had better running back play. Their quarterback did his job. They had a really, really good defense on all 3 levels, and they had really good special teams. And Nebraska found a way to crack that and take the lead. And you got to give them credit for that, but they just weren't able to finish the deal, unfortunately.
I think you also have to give credit to the players. You mentioned it a little bit. They have been so close in these games. It would be easy to say, okay, here we go again. But boy, they keep finding a way to get back up off the mat and come back and play pretty good football. And say what you want about the way this year has gone, this team has improved quite a bit.
Well, and I think being at home 2 weeks in a row at night, that atmosphere really raises this team up. I don't think the crowd doesn't really let you get down on yourself. This crowd wants it so bad, and that's probably the hard thing when you're at these games. Everybody just wants it so bad. They want to feel success around Nebraska football again, and those players understand that. And I think there's a letdown that they can't give the fan base what they all desire at this point. It means so much more here than a lot of other places. And that's the hard thing. And sooner or later it's going to break because Nebraska has made a lot of improvements. I mean, you think about this team from 2018, they're significantly better in a lot of areas, but they still haven't been able to obviously break through because I think the Big Ten is tougher. The schedule's tougher. Nebraska plays 5 of their 12 games right now against teams ranked in the top 10. I mean, that's just a fact, and you can't really dodge that. I mean, Nebraska's going to have to beat some really good teams to get to where they want to go.
Today on Husker Chat, we're joined by Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline, as we take a look back at the tough loss to Michigan and the game that's coming up against Minnesota. Sean, as you look what's left on the schedule, you can make the case with the way Nebraska's playing. They've got a shot in every one of those games, but realistically, what's got to happen for them here, even to get to that magical number of 6 wins to qualify for a bowl?
Well, they got to win the next 2 weeks. I mean, there's no other way to say it. They have to win at Minnesota. They're a 3-point favorite. They have to win against Purdue. They'll probably be a 7 to 10 point favorite at home. Those are automatics. And, we're splitting hairs here, but Nebraska was a dog against Michigan. They were a dog against Oklahoma. They were a dog against Michigan State. They lost all 3 of those games. The only game Nebraska's lost that they were a favorite in was Illinois. If you're really being true to it, I mean, the numbers and the metrics have played out other than Illinois. That's why that game was so big at the start of the year. Nebraska would just feel much different right now if they were at 4-3 versus 3-4, but they're not. And you can't get that Illinois one back. So you have to try to take it back from another game, whether that's Wisconsin, whether that's Iowa, and that's assuming that they can win these next 2 weeks in a row. I think personally, Jason, Ohio State is the toughest remaining game on the schedule. I know Iowa's ranked 2, but I think talent-wise, personnel-wise, the Buckeyes are going to get better every week, and I still think they're going to end up winning the Big Ten.
How about this one this week against Minnesota? They've not been quite as good as they hoped to be. They're coming off a bye week. They also been hit hard by injuries, especially in their backfield. What do you make of the way that the Gophers are playing at this point?
Well, Mo Ibrahim, the All-Big Ten running back, third-team All-American a year ago, out for the year with an Achilles. And then another major injury happened to Trey Potts, their other running back, who was averaging over 100 yards per game. So they're down 2 of their backs. Tanner Morgan has struggled at times this year. If you go back and study Tanner Morgan on his deep ball throws from 2019 to now, he was one of the best deep ball throwers in the college football because he had 2 All-American NFL-type receivers, and they don't have that right now. And I think this offense for Minnesota is going to try to shorten the game. They're going to try to chunk it out. They want this to be an 8-9 possession game. Last week, the Michigan-Nebraska game, I believe it was a 13-possession game on both sides. Minnesota does not want this to be a 13-possession game. And I think PJ Fleck's game plan is, let's figure out how to run the ball to move the chains and limit the overall possessions in this game.
All right, we'll see how it all works out come Saturday morning as the Huskers travel to the Twin Cities. Sean, as always, thanks a lot for your time and your insights.
Thanks, Jason.
That was Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline. He joins us every week for HuskerChat, and it's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.